Hello everybody, it's Tim here again for another movie review, this time for Lisa Frankenstein. I think the actress's name who plays in this is Catherine Newton. I could be wrong, but I've seen her before. She's been in a lot of stuff. She was in Supernatural. She was also in Detective Pikachu. She's actually a good actress. As far as like her as an actress goes, I actually do like this actress, and I think she has a good film career pathway like ahead of her in the future. Um, Overall, as far as this film goes, it got like mixed to negative critic reviews. I was curious about it because it sounded interesting. When I looked online, though, there's a couple of horror fans like championing it, saying underrated, underrated. You know, it actually is a fun film. Getting around, and you can't always like take horror fans' words for stuff for films, because yes, horror fans. I'm a horror fan, a major horror fan, but I'm also someone who is a critic, so I am critical of stuff. A lot of horror, there are like horror fans will like sometimes even the worst horror films because like even the worst ones have cult followings, and that's fine. There's a film out there for everybody, but what I'm saying is that fans are always going to be more lenient on certain types of stuff. Whereas I am a fan, but I'm also a critic. So watching this at the same time, I gotta agree with critics on this one. And I'm not someone who cares about like critics' point of views either, their point of view. Like when I judge a movie, if I like it, I like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. I'm honest with it. As far as this film goes, and there's plenty of films that I like that critics don't, but as far as this film goes, I didn't really like it. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It's okay. This is an okay time waster movie. This film was completely harmless. The acting in it is good. Catherine Newton, or however you say her name, her character Lisa. It doesn't really. She's not really defined well in this movie. Like her character, like witnessed her mom get killed by some intruder or whatever. Basically, like a slasher scenario. Um, and she survived, and ever since then she's become like this reclusive, like shut-in type person. It's not just that like it doesn't make sense why she's acting how she is, because I get it, her mom got killed and she saw it, and she used to be like a normal teenager, and now she's like this kind of like avoids everybody type thing and doesn't like want to, it's just socially awkward. But the way they play it is like more like she's like not socially awkward but like socially inept, like she's more like Crispin Glover's character from Willard, like it's, or Carrie from the movie Carrie. Like it's done in a certain way to where it doesn't really make sense with like if a person saw their mom get killed or whatever, why they would kind of go in this direction. Like this girl just comes off like the type of person who just like doesn't want to be around anybody really or really interact with anything. Um, and when she does, it just, she comes off completely socially awkward. Like I don't know if like somebody getting their mom killed or their mom dying or whatever would make them like, even if it was like in front of them with a serial killer, like if they would just regress into this like complete socially inept type scenario. I suppose it's possible, but the way she plays it is more awkward, like movie weird, I guess is what I'm saying. Um, but her performance is good. Sorry about moving my phone camera around there a little bit, but yeah, her performance is still good, and she is likable because you do feel sorry for her because she's completely mistreated by her stepmom, played by Carla Gugino, or who was also in Watchmen and a bunch of other stuff, Sin City, and she's a complete bitch, just completely overly mean to her stepdaughter for no reason whatsoever. They never really give a reason for it at all. You just left to just assume she just treats her that way because the Lisa character is just socially awkward, so she's just a bitch to her for that reason, for no other reason than that. And just because she's the stepmom, so we're just automatically supposed to hate her. The dad is just, he's just there, like he adds nothing. And that's somewhat part of the joke, because having the dad be like oblivious to what his daughter's doing and what's going on. Most of this movie is extremely tame. Like, other than maybe one or two little spots of blood, this could really like be a kid's flick. Um, and that was one of the things I was disappointed in. I thought that this film was going to be like a rated R movie about like this Lisa character who's abused and picked on by all these people, and then she like gets revenge on them by taking their body parts or whatever, and like trying to bring a guy to life that's going to be like her, you know, her boyfriend, someone she's in love with in the cemetery or whatever, because she talks to this one dude's tombstone, and then randomly by like an act of God from a lightning thing, he just randomly comes back to life just out of the blue, and it's played by one of the Sprouse brothers from Zack and Cody. And he does a good job here. And he's there, and he's just like in love with her, and he ends up killing the stepmom. And after he kills the stepmom, like the way that Catherine's, or Lisa, the character, reacts to it is really weird, because at first she's just like, like first when he shows up there, she's like running around everywhere and all that, trying to get away from him. Then like a couple seconds later, she's just like, "Oh, okay, well I'll just hide you in here." Like her character arc doesn't make much sense. And then later on in the movie, after he kills the stepmom or whatever, she's freaked out for like 2 seconds, and then after that, she's just like completely liberated and just like starts dressing up more sexy and going to school and everything, hitting on this dude with slightly long hair and everything. It just comes out of the blue. It's like it goes from like 0 to 60 in like a few seconds. It doesn't really make much sense. I guess they were going for the idea that she's becoming more liberated, I guess, because her stepmom's getting killed and she's starting to be more active, maybe. It doesn't make much sense. And throughout the movie, she just randomly starts like dressing up provocative, more, well, not provocative, but more dressing up more sexy and more confident and everything. And it just doesn't really make much sense why her character is doing that, because she didn't even seem like that type of person in the flashback scene with her mom before her mom died. So it doesn't really make much sense why she's going down this goth road or whatever. It's not really explained well. Her arc doesn't really make much sense. And then she's off. She's with the zombie dude, and people start getting killed. And she kills this one asshole dude who tried to sexually assault her or whatever when she was high at the party at the beginning of the movie. And puts like his hand on the zombie dudes, and she uses a tanning bed or whatever to electrocute him, and it like reattaches the body parts. So right off the bat, this is an obviously on purpose silly movie. It's trying to be a homage to like silly 80s type movies, almost like a homage to stuff like My Boyfriend's Back and even Weird Science, really, more than anything. It's closer to like Weird Science for like real little kids, with a slight horror bent, than it is like any kind of like actual horror comedy of the 80s. And this movie just doesn't really bring anything new to it and anything new to the genre. It's a callback to those types of movies from the 80s, but it does nothing new with the material. There's nothing new here. So the question is it fun? It's like, not really. As a horror fan, this movie is extremely tame. This almost feels like a Disney flick at points. Other than a couple, like I said, a couple little blood shots. This really feels PG-13. I'm not sure what the rating is. This could almost be PG. But yeah, by the time you get to the end of the movie, she fries herself in the tanning bed and kills herself and sets the place on fire. And you think the zombie dude or whatever has been brought back to life is going to go with her, but no, you find out at the end, after she's been killed, he's like dug her up and bandaged her up, and he's like reading her story or whatever at the end, and they're in love, and that's when the movie just goes off. That's it. So you get it leaves you wondering like, well, what's going to happen here? Is he going to like go off and like kill people to like reattach body parts for her to bring her completely healed back, or is he just going to like keep her with him, like her as a zombie, just like keep her around, just the way she is, and just love her? I mean, it really just, there's just not much to this movie. It just kind of goes through the motions and doesn't really bring anything new to the genre, and it's just kind of there. But like I said, the performances are good. The movie is well directed. The directing is good. The story is extremely basic. The movie's just not fun enough. This feels like something that should have been rated R, and if it would have been rated R, I think it would, because most of those 80s movies or whatever that were this way were closer to like R-rated films, the ones that were really good. So this just kind of ends up being one of those that even if it came out in the 80s, it would just kind of fall to the wayside. It might have like a tiny cult following, but it would just kind of be forgotten about. And overall, it's a 2-star film. It's okay. Okay time waster. I would never watch this again. Would I buy this? Maybe if I found it for like $2. Overall, it would be a skip in terms of like going to see or not, but it's okay. This movie's harmless. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.